friends. Hello, welcome. Welcome to another Patreon bonus. I have a story for you. I'm sure you can see the title. But we're getting ourselves cozy. It's like 9 a.m. And I've got my coffee and I'm going to tell you guys a story. Let's get you adjusted. So this morning I did an interview that you guys will see in a couple of weeks with this hidden gem of a film. I tell you what, one of my favorite films this year. So good. And I got to talk to the filmmakers, which was really cool because it's like a smaller production. And don't you love when those kind of things like turn out well? Like, I just love that. And I love being able to introduce that kind of film to everyone else. So they were stoked to talk to me because they were stoked when I was gonna, introduce the film to my audience, and I was stoked to talk to them. But I do have some explaining to do to you. So, I mean, you can see the title, so this is not a reveal, but where do I start with this? I wanted to talk to some people about what I did on the weekend, and then I realized that the conversation is just so hard to do over like texting or on the Discord, just via like typing it, because it's a pretty complex relationship I've had with Scientology. Don't worry. Disclaimer, I do not endorse Scientology at all. In fact, complete opposite. I denounce Scientology, and this is all for investigative purposes, for my own sick little game. So, sorry about the sound. Obviously, there's still construction next door to my house. It's been going on for 6 months now. But every time I record, it seems to be fine. So I'm just going to keep rolling with it. So, I guess I'll start. I've always been fascinated with cults. You guys know this. And I have actually been into a Church of Scientology before to get a personality reading. I have always, like, my first, I guess maybe I should break down what Scientology is, really, but I mean, even that's, like, very blurry. Scientology is, what they say Scientology is like it's created by this guy who was a science fiction writer back in the 50s, and L. Ron Hubbard, he was also in the Navy, and a lot of the principles have to do with like a ship and an organization, like the hierarchy and the way it's structured is a lot like the Navy, which is very strange, and he made this kind of self-help improvement, which is kind of what they disguise it as, that you get in the ground floor and you kind of better yourself. It's really, technically, it's just therapy, like when you think about it, but they do some really awful, horrendous shit around that, and we'll get into purification because that's like one of the main things that is just like totally out there. So they started, like you start off thinking that it's just about bettering yourself, and you do these different courses. One of the courses you may be familiar with is called Dianetics. It's a very famous book, and pretty much, buy these courses for thousands of dollars and work through these bad things in your life, which is called going clear. So when you work through a past trauma, they don't like to call it trauma. They don't call it anything that is like common terms, if that makes sense. When you work past these things, I forget what that's called. It's called like an ego or an egon, something. It's really just a trauma, and it's about working through that so you can let it go and go clear. And anyway, you go up this thing that is called a bridge. So there's all these different stages of Scientology up to the very top, and at the top one, it's kind of like, like Buddhism or something like that, where you're like enlightened once you reach a state of like inner peace. So once you're like completely rid of all your fucking personalities and anything that makes you human, up this bridge, then you get to know this secret message about Scientology. And that's where, if you've ever heard hopefully I've been in focus, and that's where, if you've ever heard the whole thing about us being beings that were like transported to Earth, we're thetans and like aliens and all that kind of stuff comes in, you only learn that when you're in the final stages. So yeah, I hope that like clears it up. I know that it's very muddy anyway, it makes no sense, but obviously it's just a very bizarre movement, and because it is a bizarre movement, it is technically a cult. Obviously it's a negative cult. Cult has a negative connotation, but by definition it is a cult. It's something that has strange, or what other people would regard to as bizarre practices. So it's 100% a cult. Whether they want to endorse that or not, it's a cult. It's just a definition, really. So I guess where do I start? I'm always been into cults and the idea of that. That's like back to my own fucking therapy, not having a family and that structure. So I find it very fascinating figuring out structures. I've watched all of the documentaries on Scientology. Obviously, I know about how bad it is. The Leah Remy documentary series that she does, and she talks about being a Scientologist. And then this is where it gets to like muddy water as well. By the way, the reason I'm talking about this, I was very iffy about, but I figured because it does actually have a lot to do with horror, because I do talk about cult movies like a lot. That's why I'm sharing this. I had no intention to be honest. But when I was talking to people in the Discord and they were interested about it, I thought, hey, like I'll put this video up. I'm sure it's not like I expect anyone to be a Scientologist who follows me. And I'll put this video up and yeah, hopefully those people who will be interested in it will watch it. But just to be completely 100% clear, I totally respect all religions, and I mean that. I really do mean that. But Scientology isn't really a religion. But I do really respect everything, even if I might border more on moving away, or I'm always interested by religion anyway, but I just say that because I'm sitting right here. I'm not a Satanist either, but again, I respect all religions. So I have the Quran over there. Like I just want to put that out there. If you're religious and you're watching this, I'm not that kind of atheist. I guess I'm an atheist. I'm not that kind of atheist. I'm not angry at anything like that. I mean, I'm angry when you find everyone's angry about, when you find out about any kind of abuse, whether that's in religion or not. And I know it gets all muddy because obviously the religion has caused a lot of bad things in the world, but I'm not here to judge your religion, and I totally respect your relationship with whatever entity that you have or not, Anyway, that out of the way. So I've always been interested in Scientology. I thought it's just the most bizarre thing that ever happened that has so much money behind it. And yeah, always watched all the documentaries and all that kind of stuff. So when I was in film school, my friend Sarah and I, we were in the city one day and we came across the Church of Scientology in the city, and it used to be just like this tiny little building on the side, and we did a personality test. So what they do is they get you in there and then they try and find anything wrong with you, and that's these, I forget the word, but that's these like things, these blips in your system that are showing that you have past traumas. So the whole point of this is to show that you're bad and you need to better yourself. And this is how they suck you in, because of course, if you feel like, oh, these people are telling me that I can do it, like, get better, and then you do like this kind of what is essentially therapy for a couple of sessions, you do feel initially better. And then they explain that you have like thousands of these in you and you need to fix them all. So they have all these different methods of the way that they work in Scientology. They have clay work, which we like found out about this visit. They have, I think it's the e-meters where you like hold the, those different, what are they called? Cans. All these different weird methods. Anyway, so we went in there and we did what they initially try and rope people in with is the personality test. And I can actually put it up because my friend found it. So this is Sarah's and mine. For some reason, hers came out fine. I got like that I had demons in me pretty much, is what they told me as well. So in this chart that you're looking at, anything above the gray is good, which means you've kind of cleared it or you've released it. And you can see mine is like jagged and all over the place. So I wasn't doing well. They weren't liking me. What I think I was quite young when I went in the first time. I think I was maybe 18, 19, and maybe if anything, they were kind of picking up on me being closed off to them because it was the Church of Scientology. And I was quite like I'm closed off. I'm a quite closed off person if you don't know me. So I feel like they were trying to break down that wall and trying to kind of like shock me into joining up or something like that. Anyway, the weird thing about that is when we were there, we signed in with fake names, fake emails, and fake phone number. And somehow they found our real email, and I got an email from, I think, is it the Watchtower? Is the Watchtower Mormon? I forget. I got an email a little bit later. So that was quite interesting. But I didn't go into Scientology since, always just been interested, always watching documentaries and anything that came out, always so interested. So one thing I did take away from that one is I did get a DVD, which was for free, which had kind of like infomercials on it, like commercials, and it's just complete straight up propaganda about the Church of Scientology. And I soaked that stuff up. I love propaganda, like looking into propaganda, because I like the whole idea of like the psychological element where it's kind of like a horror movie, like where horror movies make you so scared. It can really affect you and like brainwash you. Repetitive nature, like the calming essence of it all. I just like that effect, and not like that effect on me, but I think it's quite interesting to look in. So I look into a lot of propaganda stuff, especially like when I was in Vietnam, there was like so much propaganda like about wars and stuff. I think that's like so interesting, and that's like one of the things I just stay up late at night reading. So you guys are probably learning a lot you didn't know about me. And sorry again for the light, it's gonna go in and out. Unfortunately, there's like a storm coming, so it's kind of like clouds are passing over. It's gonna go back again. So anyway, that's kind of like a bit of background, just so you guys know where I'm coming from. I'm just interested in this stuff, but I have no desire to get involved. I just think that it's just super fascinating. So this new Church of Scientology, I guess it opened up like 5 years ago or something like that here in Perth. Was a huge deal when this big building opened. They got rid of the little one in the city, which was just kind of like a storefront. They did this, I don't know how many $1 million it was, but David Miscavige came, which is like, he's huge in Scientology. He came and opened it, and it was just a big thing. So I mean, fast forward a couple of years, and I mean, it's been about over 10 years, and my friend Sarah found those tests. That's why I was able to show that, and was like, let's go do it again. And I was like, I'm so down, because I don't have any other friends that are like a little bit unhinged like me that would go and do this kind of stuff. So I'm just very interested in it. And she's like quite a forceful person. Like, she can really take lead. So I feel kind of safe with her. I know that she would say something if someone, I don't know, if anything was unsafe, I feel quite safe with her. So we went into the Church of Scientology. I can't tell you, this building, I was absolutely shocked at the way that this building was set out. It was just like being in a show home, but also being on a spaceship. And as I said before, which was important, the Navy connotation to like L. Ron Hubbard and how he's like, you know, he's got like his roots in the Navy. So it's all very like, it's like almost like a ship. And like, it's just like, you know, like the stone, is it called the stone cutters? It's like, you know, the cult in The Simpsons. It was like that. It was exactly like that. But they have these like huge symbols, a Scientology symbol, like everywhere. They have it on every single chair. I'm getting ahead of myself, but it was just like the most insane thing. And I'll put up any pictures I can find. I didn't get a lot of photos in there, but I did get some, but I'll talk about that. So when we entered the building, they took our temperature, which is done some places, but I think it's very important to note that we didn't have to sign in with a QR code, and where I live, you need to sign in wherever you go with a QR code. If you go into a cafe and it was a hole in a wall cafe, you didn't have to go inside a building, you'd still need to sign in to say that you were there. The whole point of that is obviously COVID, just making sure if there was one contact trace that they could trace it back to every place that they've gone. So it was very strange they didn't have that, because when you go into a shopping center here, like a mall, inside, you still need to do that in every single store. So it's government regulation. So I don't know how they got away with that, and I think that's a total breach. Anyway, that was just like the first thing that I was like, what? So you enter the doors, there's like this huge desk, there's, you know, the big Scientology symbol, and there's two people behind the desk, there's a cafe, and there's just like all of these columns and books, and it's meant to be like a little museum. So the reason we went there is because they do have opening times for the general public where you can go in, and they say it's a self-guided tour. So we just assumed we'd go in, have a sticky beak around, and that kind of would be it. But we went in and we met this woman, Christine. I think I have a card in here. Christine. And she's from Italy, but she'd been in, look, oh my God, it's so creepy. She was in Italy, but she also, oh, see, this is the symbol, by the way. Oh my God, this is so weird to hold this, to be honest. She was from Italy, and then she went to America, and now she's here. Weird, they have a phone number here, and it's her mobile number. Psycho. So she was kind of like so excited to see us, and was like, oh, what do you guys want to know? What do you know about Scientology? And I can't tell you how awkward it is when someone from the church asks you, what do you know about this? I'm like, death, destruction, you know, like killing people, abusing people. Like, we just say, oh, we just kind of like want to know a little bit more. We were very reserved. We didn't say very much. She took us into a room. She was like, oh, you know, like, I'll show you about this. And Sarah somehow said something about COVID. Like, I wondered, like, maybe it got into the conversation of, like, when we were saying hello and we were doing, like, the temperature. And she said, Christine was like, oh, you know, like, we did a lot for people during COVID. So we went into this room, and I kid you not, like, this is a photo of me and Sarah in the room, by the way. We asked if we could take this. But there's this wall. Like, I swear to God, there's this wall, and it's all wood, and it has the logo. And so when we get in the room, she's like, I'm going to show you a couple of videos about what we did during COVID to protect everyone and to, like, save the fucking world or whatever they think they're doing. And the door opens like this, and this projector's just, like, there, and it was just, like, the weirdest thing. Like, the projector didn't come down, the fucking wall opens. It's just so weird. And there's this podium at the front of the room, and it's like what I was saying before, like, it's a ship, but it's like almost like a spaceship. And he was very into sci-fi, L. Ron Hubbard. So it's just a bizarre, like, mix of everything. Anyway, so she continued to show us. First off, she showed us a video that was like Make a Smile. You can look up all of these online, by the way. I think it's called Make a Smile. And it was like all of these like Scientologist, like celebrity musicians and stuff, singing this song. And then at the end, she's just like, look at what we did for the world during COVID. And it was just the weirdest, like, it's like, you know, when the celebrities do the singing on Twitter. It's the same thing. And I'm like, babe, who's gonna tell her? Not me. And then she went on to show us 6 different videos about COVID and what they were doing for COVID in their area, like for the different orgs, which is what they're called, organizations. The churches are called orgs because it's weird. So she went and showed us all these videos, and the videos made no sense. The videos were about how they circulated this booklet, which this booklet is just about how to keep yourself safe. Nowhere in this booklet, I can't stress to you guys enough how weird this is. Nowhere in this booklet does it say COVID. But this is about, you know, if you become sick, isolation. It never in this book once, this is about keeping yourself safe during COVID. And this is what Scientology did for the world, apparently, during COVID. Oh my God, I got more stuff. Oh my God, I've got so many QR codes. They don't mention COVID because their stance on vaccines is out the window, but then they also don't even talk about how COVID could be real or not, which is very strange coming from a woman who is from Italy and her family's in Italy. So she showed me these videos about them making this booklet and how they transfer this information. And I can't tell you how weird it is.
The Church of Scientology is under fire for plastering a shopping centre with pamphlets claiming to provide advice on health and safety during a pandemic. Brian Seymour is at Chatswood. Brian, these pamphlets were even left at a Woolworths supermarket.
Woolworths has described this as a one-off. The AMA has questioned why Scientology would even publish health advice, but it turns out this latest incident is part of a much larger global campaign. A shopper at Woolworths supermarket at Chatswood, north of Sydney yesterday, was stunned to find a pamphlet published by the Church of Scientology on staying safe and healthy during the pandemic. The Australian Medical Association today said no one should be taking health advice from the Church of Scientology. It turns out the Church of Scientology has form in this area. Just yesterday in Florida, parents were horrified to discover their children's school lunch bags contained the same pamphlets.
It's kind of hard to explain, but they just showed us like this literally propaganda about how great they were and how they helped the world during this time by delivering this booklet all over the world. They also used this chemical called D7, which they talked about how they like just sprayed down all of their churches. Anyway, it was a very weird hour where they were just showing these videos about what they did during COVID, and it was just repetitive, talking about germs, talking about this, but never mentioning the word COVID. And I said at one point, but this stuff didn't exist before COVID though, right? You can pretend it's not for COVID, but you weren't using gloves and face masks before that. She also insisted that everyone in the building all wears face masks and gloves, but then she wasn't, and she said, oh, but me, which was really weird. And the whole point of it was like, well, I mean, the whole point of it, what do we know? But the whole idea behind it is that they try and say that Scientologists churches or orgs are like the safest places in the world right now, which is quite interesting coming from a place where it literally is the safest in the world in my state, not even my country, my state. So it's kind of fresh when they're saying, well, in Florida, like what is that one called? I forget what it's called. It's like the one there, it has a particular name, but that's the safest place on earth because of like these measures they take to protect people from COVID. Anyway, so she's showing us all this and I'm like, this has nothing to do with Scientology. I don't know why she's showing us any of this. And then at the end, she sat us down and did a questionnaire. So I realized that she's just doing marketing research on us. So she's got us in there just so she can hit her quota of showing as many like normies, us, or what are we called? We're called non-something people. Anyway, so she wanted to show it to us and then have some questions, and that way she's like, okay, well, I showed this video to this many people and this is the feedback they got. Pretty much using us for marketing. So that's why she randomly showed us those videos that were just weird. And the questions were like, how did the videos make you feel? What did you take away from the first video? So it was literally like we were like, it was like a screener and giving some feedback. So I thought that was boring as fuck, to be honest, and not the reason I'm there. But then because of this situation, she kind of knew that she was boring us to death, but then we had this very uncommon situation and opportunity. So obviously I've been interviewing people for, the last 5 years, 6 years at work, in work environments for like being a video journalist and stuff like that. So we were in this situation where it was Sarah and I and our kind of energy and her, and she had just asked us these marketing questions, and then we were all kind of facing each other sitting on these chairs, and I thought, the doors close, this is the moment that I can ask her anything. So I just kind of went in and I was just like, well, what do you guys not believe and what do you guys not want to do, not do? She talked about drugs and how they don't do drugs, but she was very lenient on everything, which I know that they aren't lenient on. But one thing she did talk about was purification, and I'm not sure if you guys have heard about this. Trigger alert if you haven't, because it's pretty fucked up. So this is like something that you do when you first get into Scientology. Obviously, you're not meant to have any drugs. They call them street drugs. What they mean is anything, any kind of medication, anything. She says she has a glass of wine casually, but they mean like antidepressants. So, I mean, let's look at the back. The back says, developed by L. Ron Hubbard, the purification program is an exact regime that frees an individual from the devastating mental and spiritual effects of past drugs and toxins. It is the only program of its kind and offers the priceless gift of getting your life back. It is not the only... Babe, have you ever heard of a detox center? Rehab? But in all seriousness, this is the really fucking dangerous. So this is actually when they put people in a sauna. We saw the sauna when we were there. We got like a little sneak peek after we left this room, where we saw where it went to. There's like saunas and stuff like that, but pretty much for 3 weeks you do a detox. But someone has died doing this course before. I don't know the exact details of that off the top of my head, but obviously it's, yeah. I mean, that's that on that, right? Completely scary stuff. I mean, it is really menacing looking at this. So this is all about that. I haven't really gone through it, but it's like they're very much against like drugs and alcohol, and they talk about how it's street drugs, but really they do mean everything. So here we go. The purification system. Got some pictures as well. Thousands of hours of research and testing accumulated in the precise actions and elements of that interact to dislodge and eliminate drug and toxic residues from the body. The result is an exact regime that combines exercise, sauna, sweat out, and nutrition. Absolutely not. Like, babe, it's called a detox. Anyway, it's pretty scary stuff. So... so I was asking about that kind of stuff. I just really wanted to get an answer. I was trying to angle towards LGBT and just trying to get her to say anything because she was talking too much. She was talking herself in a circle sometimes. So I thought she's doing too much of this to try and make herself feel comfortable that I feel like she would have slipped up, and I was like all for it. So I was just kind of grilling her for a while. I mean, in a nice way. I was just asking questions like, oh, and then what does it come from this page? What is the next step on the bridge? And where does that go to? And what does that look like? And I was just being very precise and direct with my questions. So I learned a lot that way. After this, she also said this weird stuff about how they're open to any religion. So you could be a Buddhist and be there, which I don't believe, but they'll say anything to anyone to get them in the door and staying there. After this, we asked if we can have a look around. We had a look in some of the rooms, the testing rooms. All the testing rooms are different. It's very interesting. And they took us downstairs into this, like a bigger classroom where they do the clay work. And clay work, this is gonna... They believe anything, any concept, any idea that you can get in your brain, you should be able to put in, like, make into a model of clay. So if you understand something 100% fully, then you should be able to make it into a clay diorama. I don't know. Anything, love, happiness, asking someone about the time, like you should be able to put every single concept you can ever understand into clay. So... Anyway, we met one of the supervisors. He was in the room. He looked like Steve Jobs. Only because everyone there wears like black turtlenecks and black pants. Blink twice if you need help, but also like what kind of person is he in real life? It's just so bizarre walking into somewhere like that and you're like, where do you sleep at night? Who do you know? Like, do you speak to your parents? I don't know. It was just like, it was absolutely bizarre. Anyway, we just had another tour and then walked through the main like information center, so like the museum, which is where they had the L. Ron Hubbard office. So every single Sea Org, I keep saying Sea Org. Sea Org is part of the organization that they don't talk about, but every single org has a L. Ron Hubbard like replica office, or just like an office. It's not really a replica, but it's just like an office for him if he ever wanted to come there. L. Ron Hubbard is dead and he died many years ago, so just keep that in mind. But every single place has one for him, I guess, just in case he wants to inhabit a soul and fucking, come and do a day's work. Other things I picked up is when I was walking around, every single chair in the whole establishment had the little Scientology logo on the back. It's just like the amount of like product manufacturing they would have to do to make every single thing like Scientology approved and put their stamp on it is absolutely insane. The size of that building was really impressive. So we walked around the little museum and that's when I picked up, like, these are all kind of free DVDs. I finally got my DVD. This is the one I got years ago. They still had it. So I was really excited by that. There we go. It says 2011. So they still had it. And I was so psyched that I got another copy that's sealed. I got United for Human Rights, which I thought was very cool. I got Scientology Handbook Tools for Life. So apparently this is like a free entry level like look at all of the different lessons and guides and different things you can do. It's like online training. Obviously I'm never fucking putting this, I mean, not that I have really a computer that would take a DVD, but I'm never putting this in my computer. But interesting that they try and like get you in with the free stuff. But obviously when I was walking around, I saw some DVDs that you were to buy, and that's these pictures here. And this is when it gets like obviously dark and that kind of stuff comes out. The fear mongering. What are the ones that I took the photo of was Dead Wrong. How psychiatric drugs can kill your child. And then the other one, you get the psychiatry, friend or foe. So that's your propaganda. So it is scary, but it's not as scary for newcomers as you think. We gave fake names. I didn't even write my name. Sarah wrote Sarah and Emma, and Sarah gave, I don't know if she gave a fake number or what she gave, but I didn't write down any of my details, like no last name or anything like that. Didn't tell them where I worked or anything like that. So don't worry about that. If anything, they just try and be like, love bomb you. And yeah, it wasn't really working. Christine wasn't really my kind of gal. She was just like talking in circles and she wasn't really connecting. So super interesting. Anyway, that is my look at Scientology today. Let me know what you guys think. Again, I don't mean any disrespect. I mean disrespect Scientology a little bit, but it's just all for my own personal interest. And I just like looking into different religions, to be honest. That's just like kind of my thing. But Scientology 100% is a cult. I hope you enjoyed this video. I probably gave you a lot to think about. Let me know what you think about all this down below. Don't worry guys, I'm safe. I've got this. And I hope you have a fantastic day. Thank you so much for watching me and supporting my content. Don't worry, I'll be back with a very different video next week. I don't do this all the time. But thank you so much for being here and letting me have a space where I can talk about this stuff freely, because it's really cool. I can't put this on my main channel. So thank you so much. And I'll talk to you guys very soon. Stay spooky. Bye.